In this video, I'm going to show you 4 factors that can increase your ability to do one-to-one high-ticket sales. I'm John Patrick Muller, former Buddhist monk, and I've taken my gifts and turned them into an online spiritual coaching business and marketing agency and conscious leadership coaching business. And I help people like you to grow their businesses and to get clients and to live your best life. So in this video, I want to share with you, this is an introduction to my process of how to get high ticket clients. Okay, so I'm about to make 3 videos from this point on. We just did 1, right? And so now we're gonna do 3 more to get high ticket sales in your business. So this is especially relevant for you if you sell high ticket services such as coaching and healing in a heart-centered way, but I'm sure you can apply it in lots of different ways. Okay, so here we go. Here are the 4 factors. The first one is context. In a negotiation situation, in an area of influence, we want to be the one who sets the context. We want to create context, right? Context is what contains the meaning. All meaning in the universe comes through context. There is no such thing as meaning that is separate from context. There is no absolute meaning to anything. There is no absolute definition to anything. There is no absolute truth about anything. Context is literally what creates everything, right? Within context only can things be understood, can things be applied, can things be learned, blah, 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 right? In what context does somebody say something? In what context? Like when you hear a piece of advice, that advice isn't necessarily true or false, good or bad. It depends on the context, right? In the context of one situation, that advice is gold. In the context of another situation or another starting place or whatever scenario, that context would, or that advice would throw you completely off track, right? I learned about this from Buddhism, basically. So in the context of one diet, fruit is the best thing you can eat. In the context of another diet, don't eat fruit, right? In the context of one diet, rice is good for you. In the context of another diet, rice is not good for you, right? And so you have to get away from this understanding of the world that there's intrinsic meaning or there's an absolute quality to things. There is no absolute value, there's no absolute quality, there's no absolute definition, there's no absolute meaning, there's no absolute truth. There's only contextual truth, contextual understanding, contextual relevancy, contextual meaning, contextual application, contextual learning, contextual speech, everything, right? And so a leader is somebody who sets the context. You have to understand, first of all, the context the other person's coming into the call with. If you're setting up a one-to-one call, you want to start to set the context as early as you can in that relationship. You want them to come to you as if you're the expert. You want them to come to you looking for a solution, already believing in you, with some faith, with some understanding that you can help, with some trust, with some appreciation for some of the things that you've done. You want to have them coming to you with some of these things, right? If they don't, it's a lot harder to make a sale. So marketing is all about trying to set this context as early as possible and to attract people in the first place to get them interested. But then you want to set context all along the way, and including up until the call and during the call. You want to be the one who always sets the context. For example, is the prospect leading the call or are you leading the call? Right? Are you in control or are they in control? That context is extremely important, right? And so one way to get the context or for you to set the context is for you to ask the questions. Questions are like containers that hold context. Questions can create context. Statements can create context too. Words are words and concepts. Words and concepts, labels, names, these are your tools for setting context and your understanding. Like a conceptual understanding is something in your own mind, right? A concept and context are not separable. So a verbal version of concept is a name or a label, and words, right? And so you use your words to create context and to set the context. And you can show your appreciation and understanding for their context. And then you can ask a little bit of a bigger question, usually is a good way to lead them into your context, right? Challenging people through statements to help them set context can be abrasive, and it can damage rapport. So a lot of the best masters that I've seen use questions to reframe context, right? Is another word for this is reframing, right? Reframing, framing, reframing, pre-framing. Tony Robbins talks about this. You know, everybody on NLP, everybody understands this. We just need to be able to apply it, right? And in this context, I'm using the word context. And I want you to feel that reality is a blank canvas and that you can set context based on truth. Now, because there's a relative degree of truth in the universe and it is not absolute, we can say in the case of this video and what we're doing here, that by leading people towards beneficial outcomes, any context that we use that leads people towards beneficial outcomes is a good one. Okay? That's how you can judge or weigh or assess how you're doing and whether what you're doing is ethical or not. You have to believe in the outcomes that you're providing, and you have to believe that you can lead them there based on their starting place, right? And so you set context. Like, as I said, reality is a blank canvas. You can use words, labels, names, and concepts, usually through questions and statements, to get them to switch their context and come into your understanding. You can create context out of nothing, out of thin air, right? By simply sharing your frame and sort of welcoming them in. That's the leadership game is very much about you setting the frame. They have a frame and you have a frame. And through questioning, you need to lead them into you need to meet them at their frame, but then lead them into yours. And if your frame is bigger than theirs, they will most likely come. Most people will understand when your frame is bigger, and they will allow themselves to be led to bigger and better frames. And if the outcome, if that's where you're leading them, then it's okay for you to create this context out of nothing because it's functional. You assess or weigh or measure or judge what you're doing as beneficial or not, or as good or not, based on, is it beneficial for them, right? Based on function, is it benefiting them, right? And you can only understand things within your own frame. So that's why you have to learn. You have to learn about them. You have to learn about their situation. You have to understand what they're going through and where their starting point is. And then you can ethically help them to come into a bigger, better context so that they can see, oh my God, the result is right there. Okay? Now, I've seen this done. My meditation teacher at the temple was a master of this, and I've learned through firsthand experience of being a student there, like a close personal student of his for a long time. And you can see this in the science world, right? People like Einstein have said things like, if I was given 4 hours to solve a problem, I would spend 90% of that time trying to understand the problem and 10% trying to apply the solution. And it's like that. It's like with the correct frame, the solution is obvious. It's like lining up a microscope or something. It's like when you get the frame or the lens right, the problem and the solution are in alignment with each other, and you're like, when you're seeing the problem from the perspective of the solution is the easiest, best, and maybe only way to solve it, right? A lot of people try to solve their problems without much knowledge or experience of what solutions are. But because you are an expert, you can be in the frame of the solution, and then you understand the problem from the lens of already embodying the solution. Okay? And then it's just your job to communicate that frame as many ways as possible, as gently as possible, to help people to reassess their own frame. And you might have to challenge them a little bit. A lot of sales calls are about challenging people. And then they will slowly decide to jump into your frame, or quickly decide. But That's what the call is about largely, is setting context. Okay, you use this in your marketing, use this in your sales, use this everywhere. It is extremely important. And if you ever find that a call starts to go in the wrong direction, it's because they have started to set the context in a way that is solidifying the problem or that is ignoring the solution. And then it's your job to notice this is not a big problem, it's a problem of context. It's a problem of context. You, as the expert, is your duty to set context because you are qualified to lead towards that solution and they're not, because they have never gotten to that solution and you have. And you've helped others get to that solution too. So you know, but obviously you need their consent and permission because maybe they don't want the solution. As long as they're agreeing that they want the solution and that they want your help to get there, then you can ethically reset and reframe context until they can clearly see the solution, and then they make a commitment and now they're in your program. So that's I want to say that's 99% of what a sales call is just setting context correctly. Okay, so that's the first factor that I want to talk about here. The second factor is called collaboration. This one, they work together, right? So collaboration is something, I learned this from Chris Voss, former FBI hostage negotiator. You should look him up on YouTube if you want to. He's freaking amazing. I've watched his masterclass too. Is next level, for real, next level, right? Such a, so as many people are, but I find it very good. But he talks about collaboration, right? Collaboration is a great frame to be in. It's a great tone of voice to have. It's a great mindset. And collaboration is the opposite of confrontation. And collaboration is when you and the person you're collaborating with, people or persons that you collaborate with or whatever, singular, plural, you agree upon a future moment in time and you kind of work together towards it. That's really what collaboration is, right? So if you're collaborating with your doctor, then you agree that you want to fix your knee or whatever, and you want to do it as non-invasively and naturally as possible with quickest recovery time with the least amount of drugs as possible. And if that's the future moment in time that you've agreed on, now you can work together. It's a collaboration, right? If you're collaborating with your family, you're trying to get them to behave on vacation or whatever. Again, you agree upon a future moment in time. You set something in that everyone can agree on. Like, yes, we want this. We want harmony. We want everyone to have a good time. We want to have fun. We want to finish this so we can get on to the next thing or whatever, right? So there's some future moment in time that you set and everyone agrees on, and now you can collaborate together, right? A good leader creates collaboration. You create collaboration of everything you do. And when you're on a sales call, you are collaborating with the prospect, with the client, right? You both, based on their goals and your ability to help them with particular goals that they may have, you can set a future moment in time, such as whatever their vision is. Their vision for their life, you pick out the specific moment or moments that you feel qualified to help them with that are within your wheelhouse, that are realistic within the whatever time frame that you work with people in. And then you set that as the vision and you're like, okay, great. I believe I can help you with that. And now you're working together. It's a collaborative conversation. You're working together towards that. And you're sharing how you can help. They're discussing their limited mindsets and objections. And you kind of work with them until it looks like, hey, we can work out something here, right? And if ever the call starts to feel confrontational, it's because it feels like you're sitting on opposite sides of the table. You need to come around and you need to sit next to them. And you need to affirm that you're working towards that vision with them together. If ever it becomes a little bit confrontational, remember it's because I'm fighting against them. I need to remind them and myself maybe, or maybe just them, that hey, we're working to get don't you want this? You want this vision? Sometimes they fight against you, sometimes you fight against them. And whoever's doing the fighting needs to be reminded that you're working towards this vision together, okay? And that it's a collaboration. And if both parties agree that you can help, then you can be in business together, okay? So that's the second of these 4 factors that can help you with your sales. The third one is certainty. certainty is possibly the most important part of a sale. It's many people would say it's the most important part. It's the main emotion that's getting transferred. It's the sales is a transference of energy, isn't it? Right? Sales, you transfer energy, you transfer value. It's an exchange, right? It's an exchange of emotion. It's an exchange of belief, and the primary thing that gets exchanged is certainty. Now, there's a belief and feeling component to certainty. There's also an energetic component and catalyzation component to certainty, right? It's energizing, it's faith, it's a belief, it's appreciation. There's a lot of things all wrapped up into certainty. I think that it's very similar to like a very confident, electrified, energized faith. In my mind, that's how I perceive it. It is essentially seeing a future vision and being so certain about it, so excited, so like clear. It's like so palpable that you feel that it's more real than anything else around you. And because of that belief in the reality of it and the imminency of it unfolding, you can bring people in who want to be part of it. They'd rather be part of your vision than be part of theirs. That's a lot of times what happens when we're leading somebody, is that we have a vision that's better and we are electrified with that vision. We're energized by that vision. We have faith in it. We're confident in it. We're certain of it. And people feel that certainty. They might test you at first. A lot of times when you're very certain, people around you will throw little stones at you to test you. Do you really believe this? Are you just faking it? Are you going to trick me? That's okay. Let them test. That's their job, right? You do that too. Everybody does that. So you have to let them do that without getting swayed. And yeah, some people will think that you're crazy because they can't see what you see, but you see it and you're certain of it. A lot of times people who feel cared for by you, they feel loved by you, they feel like they can trust you. A lot of times those people will realize that your vision for them is better than their vision for themselves. And then they'll jump into your vision. They'll say, I want to be part of this, right? Your vision in general may be better than theirs, and they may say, hey, how can I be part of this, right? If you're like, hey, we're going to do this cool workshop on Thursday, it's amazing, we're going to discuss these things, who wants to come? And people might be like, well, I had plans on Thursday, I was going to watch TV with my family, I was going to go to this party or whatever, but man, that sounds really good. And they're like, I'd rather do that. I choose your vision over mine for my Thursday evening, right? Or it's like, hey, we're going to do this 6-month program, who wants to join? And they're like, well, I thought I was going to spend this money on fixing up my house or, fixing my mold problem or buying new sneakers for my whole family. But actually, I think that if I spend it with you, the future is better than it was going to be if I did it my way. And so your vision is better than mine. And in particular, your vision for me is better than my vision for me in this moment, in this context. And so I would like to just be part of your vision instead. And then you charge them, obviously, for being part of your vision. If it's a paid program, obviously. Okay, so that's what certainty can do. It's really, I've been on the receiving end of this, and it is interesting because the other person can appear crazy, but then there's something interesting about it. It's palpable. It's like, I just want to be part of that. That sounds really good. And you're like, okay, let's go along for that ride, right? And then I've been on the delivering side of that as well, and you can too. Okay, so how do you have certainty? You have to just repeat. One way is to improve your program, right? So whatever program or service that you're offering, you want to make it better. You want to learn from your students. You want to find out the areas of refinement, areas that it's already good, areas that it can be improved. You want to find what are the commonalities between all my best clients and where are the things that are causing the mediocre clients to fall through the cracks or the bad clients to fall through the cracks. How can I fix it? And you want to put some effort into fixing it. It's going to take humility and patience to do this, but that's one way. And then or another way, a secondary way, is to just remember how good it already is. a lot of times I have improved my business by improving my program. But what happens is when I improve an area of my program, because I was mentally reviewing it, I get really confident about it again. I get certain about it again. I get really excited about it again. And then that allows me to sell, right? There is really no relationship between how good a program is and your ability to sell it other than your own certainty about it, right? I'm gonna say that again. Let's just say that I fix my program and make it better. I add an extra thing to it that wasn't there before, right? An extra month or two of something special that wasn't included before, right? But because I was taking the time to mentally review it and to add it, now I'm super excited. Now my confidence and certainty that it's going to deliver even better results is really strong. And now when I talk about it, I sell it, right? I sell it better because of that belief. The person doesn't experience the improvement yet. And I may not have even talked about the improved aspect of it yet. Maybe I did, but maybe I didn't. The thing is, the relationship between a really good program and someone buying it, I think that the only commonality, the only relationship is that you believe in it if you mentally review it. So my advice is take some time to remember and speak words to yourself to remind yourself how special it is, how special you are, your magic, your gifts, your ability to deliver, the transformation they're gonna have. You know, they're so lucky. I tell myself this. They're so lucky. You're gonna help some. I talk to myself. You're gonna help so many people. You're amazing. This program's amazing. People are so lucky to be part of it. You know, you're gonna help them. They're so fortunate because they get to work with you. If you say these words to yourself, you just remind yourself how good it already is. And sometimes that's what you need. So I would say alternate between the two, right? You don't always have to add something new to your program. Maybe it's fine. Maybe it's already really good. Maybe it's 90% as good as it could be. And so instead of like doing more, just like take a minute off and just remember how good it is, right? And then your certainty goes up and now you can sell it again. Okay? So that's some advice for certainty. And another, just real quick, if you're in the beginning of your business, you may not have a lot of student results yet. The thing that you want to do is create a really good outline for what your program could be and just get so excited and confident about how good it is that people feel it. But it's a customizable outline. Maybe there's building blocks, maybe it's not set in stone, but you know that you could help different types of people, right? Just get certain about the future, essentially, and then invite people into it. Okay, so then the fourth one is care. Care. We need to bring more care into our sales process, into our marketing process too. When people feel that you care, they are going to trust you more. And when they trust you, that's when your certainty will transfer to them. Okay, so your certainty is within you, but they will not feel it unless they trust you. They will not increase their own certainty just by being inside, being exposed to yours, unless they trust you. So trust. And how do you help them to develop trust? You care about them. Care about them over the long term. If you care about people in your marketing, you won't make false or exaggerated promises, and you won't make promises that you can't keep, right? If you care about people, you will put yourself out there more, right? You'll market harder probably too, right? If you care about clients over the long term, you will deliver really good results, and then your testimonials will be good, and then people will just trust you really fast. Like, getting really good testimonials is the best form of marketing. For me, most of the time when I buy programs, the thing that is sometimes there's like a logical part of a sale and there's the emotional part. For me, the emotional part is when I see good testimonials, I just want it. I just want the thing, right? So and I've heard people when they hop on sales calls with me, a lot of times what they say is, you've been putting out such good testimonials lately. Like, I just keep seeing all these wins that your clients are having. I want to be part of it. People say that all the time, right? And then the logical side needs to make sense too. So what I help people do in their business a lot of times is I'm really good with logic, right? So I can help to put the logical sequence of of statements together so that people can feel certain that they can get results logically, right? Like your words deliver certainty logically, right? And also, I think testimonials also offer logical proof, right? If all these people got good results and they started out similar to me and they're doing things similar to me, then logically I can too, right? And so testimonials, I'd say they're mostly the emotional part of the sale, but it's also logical, right? That happened to me. Like I had a friend who signed up with these coaches program, and I wanted their program, but I kind of like, I wanted it, but like I would have wiggled out too. But then my friend signed up and got good results with them. She got 2 clients like right away. And I knew that she wasn't starting out at any special starting point. I thought I was further ahead. I thought I was more advanced. I thought I was more evolved. I thought I was more beneficial to others. And so when she got 2 clients really fast, and I knew I was better at speaking, I knew I was going to be better at marketing too. And so she got 2 clients right away. I was like, if she can do it, I can do it. That's a logical statement, right? So when you put out testimonials, you want to put out things of like small wins too. Don't just put out big wins. Mediocre wins and small wins are just as important for a person developing emotional and logical trust in you, or like interest in working with you. Okay? And so what I'm telling you is that your own care is the main ingredient that will help to make sure that the people, not just your care, your certainty too, right? When people are in your program and they're working with you, your own certainty about the process, the methods, their ability to get results, their ability to implement, whatever, all the things, like your ability to hold space for them, your certainty in all those things helps them exponentially. Do not think that certainty is only part of a sale. Certainty is part of any leadership, any impact, any transformation. Certainty is quite possibly the most important ingredient because part of it is faith. Faith is the transformational factor in the universe. A mind, a human mind, any mind, cannot transform for the better without faith in that moment. Faith is a quality that we all have naturally, but we have different amounts of it and it comes and goes like all of our other emotions, right? Sadness, anxiety, happiness. Faith is not any different than this. Love, they're all exist on a spectrum, on a continuum. They come and go, and you can learn how to develop it more and more and more. It's a spiritual practice. Developing faith is something that Buddhists meditate on constantly. Trying to develop more and more and more faith. It's not a light switch that's either on or off. It's a dimmer switch, right? It's like you already have some, but like you can get more and you can get more and you can get more. You can learn how to get more. And faith is considered to be it's the most important mental quality for receiving blessings and inspiration and transformative energy from the universe. And there is no transformation without receiving that divine energy. Faith is what opens the shutters of your mind to let the sunlight of divinity in to touch your heart. And the transformation comes from that. That's actually where transformation comes from when you really get down to it, right? Faith, right? Now, some people have faith in science. Some people have faith in results. Some people have faith in logic. Some people have faith in words. Some people have faith in what they can see. Some people have faith in things they can't see, right? And so everyone has different ways of developing faith. I want you to destigmatize the word faith and make it non-denominational and not religious. It is just a mental quality, just like every other quality. Think of it like appreciation and belief and really certainty, right? It's certainty. When you have certainty, you can get results now. And when you're leading people through your program, if you have certainty, and they trust you, then they will have certainty too. And then they will get results too. So you must have high certainty at all times. Obviously you deserve some days off and whatever, but like when you're performing, when you're on in your business, certainty is always important, not just for sales, just to be clear. Okay. So care when someone's in your program is maybe the other side of it, right? Care is allows you to be there more. It's the motherly side, it's the nurturing side. It's the side that understands them and wants to help and will not just take a day off because you know your client needs you or whatever, right? Care allows us to work longer hours. Care allows us to stay up all night putting together that worksheet, making sure it's perfect. Or care allows us to whatever it is, take the time to try to understand the client when they leave you that voice note about their thing. You care, right? Care allows you to make sure that you're at your best so that you show up at your best for all your client, obligations. Care makes sure that you stay on your path. You're also hiring coaches. You're also developing yourself. You're implementing things that you're learning. You're trying to have your own breakthroughs. Your own care causes you to do those things too, because you know you're not as useful without it, right? If you fall off track, how useful are you to your students, right? You need to stay on track, and your own care for them will be a very inspiring factor for you to allow you to do that. And altogether, this allows you to help students get better results, and those better results create trust. And people can feel it, even during a sales call. Let's just say you're even starting and you don't have great testimonials. Even during the call, they can feel it. They can feel that you care about them. They can feel that you're really trying to understand. You're asking questions. They can hear your tone of voice that you care. They can feel it, okay? If you're trying to push them, one of the main reasons that people say no in a sales call is because they do not feel understood, right? They don't feel understood. So what happens is people who are selling the same thing over and over again, this happened to me. We're selling the same thing over and over again, right? And we're talking to the same type of client over and over again. Sometimes the mind of a salesperson or an entrepreneur, we can so quickly understand the client's situation and that our program is a solution and that it does work, that we forget to show them that we understand. And we start pushing them towards our solution too early. But a person does not perceive that they are cared for because they don't feel understood. They feel like, how could you tell me what the solution is when you don't even understand my problem? That happens to me too. Like this happens to me when I make posts online, right? I make a post and people start attacking me and I'm like, you don't even understand what I'm saying. And so how could I feel that what you say to me is relevant unless I feel understood? If I feel that a person understands me and they articulate that they understood where I was coming from and then they offer some criticism or advice or feedback, now I can take it. Because why? I guess because I feel like they care, right? I feel like they understand. So take the time on a call, not just to care, but to demonstrate that you care by asking more questions and gaining deeper, richer understandings and communicating your understandings. Because only then will they trust you when you recommend a solution. When you recommend a solution from a place of deep care and understanding of them, now they will feel like they trust you. And that trust is the funnel, is the channel that your certainty flows. Your certainty flows through the straw of the channel of trust, right? And trust comes from, a lot of times trust comes from care, right? Short-term care of like in the moment you care, but long-term care shows itself in our actions, right? So our actions over time, if done with care, both to ourselves and others, will create an impeccability of our behavior, an impeccability of our actions. Will leave a trace of high standards, impeccability, great ethics, moral values. People will say good things about us, right? We'll leave this trail behind us if we always have care for ourselves and others. Long term, it demonstrates in our actions and in our results that are tangible. Okay, so that's one type of care. And then the other type of care is just the emotional part that they feel in the moment. And those are both important for a person to develop real trust in you and then the certainty and the belief that they can do it will flow, and then they'll be sold. If as long as there's logical and emotional certainty that flows, and they'll do it. If they can, they'll take action. They'll buy from you. Okay, so these are the 4 factors that I want to talk about today. There's going to be 2 more videos on high ticket sales. The next one is about the structure of how to structure a call, and how to walk them through what are the stages. There's like 8 steps. There's like 8 steps. But then the next video after that is the emotional side. There's like 5 or 6 emotional factors that you can bring in that fill that structure, and you can create an emotional sale. So it's really important. It's like how to do the structure of a sale, how to do the emotional energy work side of a sale. Both of these things are very important. I'm going to do them in the next 2 videos. And then we're going to keep going to some other things like magnetism and manifestation. Okay, and so that's what we're going to do in the next few videos. I hope you enjoy, and please subscribe and share this video, and I'll talk to you soon.